Okay, so in a nutshell, in 2023, I started working with a Midwest seminary that when you look at the website and you see their values, their programming, their mission, you're like, wow, that's really motivational. They are equipping lay leaders and clergy to serve the church and serve the world in important ways. And then I got there and I started interviewing in more depth the leadership team and some of the faculty and staff leaders and realized that all of that lived out values was only on the website. There was an immense amount of mis there was an immense lack of trust between faculty and staff, faculty and leadership team, faculty and the board of directors
So it sounds
for
just
good
like,
reasons.
I mean, right there, to me, that sounds like poor hiring decisions.
Um, uh, I believe many of these people were marvelous, caring Christian people, and they had had so much turnover in the upper leadership of that organization that people didn't know what they should expect, and this all unloaded during COVID. So that in and of itself had a big culture smashing effect because people who used to be together every day didn't see each other for months at a time. And so professors are teaching in their living room or their kitchen or in their car, and there's turnover above them. So who's my boss and who's the president? And then there's this riff with the board. And so instead of, you know, 15 years ago, that organization looked like everybody had their oars in the water pulling in the same direction. And then it looked like a few of the people had their oars in the water, but most people had peeled off and just doing their own thing. And so, and these are not bad people. These are good people who care and people of faith. But I think they were really unaware of how lack of intention around shaping the culture affects everything. You know, culture is mostly affected by the top leaders around what they expect and what they allow. And I don't mean allow like in a legalistic sort of a way, but I mean if it says this is our mission and these are our values around excellence, faith, quality education, etc., then we expect everyone every day that they go to work to do that. And that's what we expect. And the leadership of an organization has to talk about that all the time in new and different ways and not get tired of reminding people about those values and the mission and what they allow. For example, if someone says something in a faculty meeting, which happened on more than one occasion, that really was disrespectful. I mean, I saw this happen and I was like taken aback. And so after some careful conversation and listening, the president of the institution went to those people and said, in private confidence, said, "What you're doing, how you're acting right now, can't ever happen again. I'm just telling you, you're violating the values and the beliefs of this organization." And those people were taken aback. I mean, senior level Christian PhDs, et cetera, you know? Um, and over time, things began to change for the better. Initially, there was a tremendous amount of like, you're gonna oh, by the way, you asked a question about like, how do you actually do that? So I think there's 3 things that are mightily important. One is the leadership talks about their values all the time in a very, uplifting, mission-driven way. 2, you do surveys, and we asked everyone who worked there to anonymously fill out a survey, took them like 20 minutes, and those surveys, because they knew that they could speak openly, freely, identified 5 things that people felt were most if we are willing to talk about these things honestly, we're gonna mend a lot of these hard feelings. We're gonna build the trust. We're gonna improve ourselves. We're gonna become more aligned with the values of the institution. So, leadership talking about it, the survey, and lots of listening, not as a technique, but as a way to really let people come forward and say, "This is how I feel about this. I can do this without fear of repercussion, and then we're gonna do something about that." And it begins to build a container where the culture becomes more trusting, more transparent. People feel more free to speak without fear of retribution. I don't know why they have fear of retribution. There never was any, but that was the underlying current.